All right, what's going on, guys? So we're back today on the legacy build. Today is a very big day. I've decided to jump ahead and work on the wiring. So I'd like to get the dash back in it. It's a little frustrating working on it like this. So I just like to make some headroom. We'll do the brake lines and stuff later. I know I talked about doing that first, but shouldn't be too big of a deal to get all this stuff in here. I just want to get the dash back in and start actually making it look like a car again. So this is our iWire harness merge. This is everything they sent to me. This merges the legacy body harness with an 05 STI ECU, a mobilizer, and ignition cylinder, and all the stuff you need to make it work, as well as engine harness goes in here. They also did the full manual conversion with it, so it has the wiring for the DC-CD Pro to handle the transmission. I'm using like all the stock legacy fuse boxes and all this kind of stuff. So one thing I'm not sure about is this looks like this is legacy alternator wiring, so I might just run a legacy alternator. Not really a big deal. I don't think there's too much of a difference between them besides the connectors on them, so not a big deal. We'll get all that stuff hooked up. This is the whole engine bay section. This is like part of my fuse box, headlight wiring, radiator fans, like all this stuff. So all this stuff has to be ran through, because this part's in the car, so this has to run, all this stuff has to go through the wheel well from the inside of the car and then into everything else. So all this stuff has to go in first before I can put the blower motor and all this stuff back together. As you guys saw before, I got the brand new heater core installed in there. So the big harness goes through that hole and back there in that hole. So it's going to run along across the back of the firewall, hang up above the blower box and all that stuff. So all this stuff has to get tucked away in there before I can really put the rest of the dash back together. And we'll figure out, how we're going to mount the ECU and all this kind of stuff, because this is sort of in the stock location, because they actually merged this with like a Forester STI, like a JDM harness, because that has the ECU on the same side as the legacy. So merging this with the regular GD is quite difficult because the ECU is on the passenger side, whereas legacies is on the driver's side, so the whole harness is kind of backwards. So doing it with a Forester harness makes it a lot easier. So we just got to start plugging away at this thing. I think we'll probably start with the one that goes to the fender, get this one through there, maybe get the one that goes behind the blower box as well. We'll see. Never done this before, so this should be fun. Alright, so I'm a little confused on this section. This is like the engine harness side, I believe. And see, they gave it this giant length of wire, but this is on the driver's side, firewall side. So this is basically in the floorboard of the driver's side. Like see, we have our drive-by-wire pedal connector, OBD2 port, all that stuff, and then this is on this side. But the firewall grommet's over there on the passenger side. This harness with the fuse box has its own grommet, so I'm not sure if I'm supposed to cut the grommet and run this through the fender. So this is something we're gonna have to figure out. I might just start with getting this wiring in here, because I know this needs to run through the fender. This has this is like everything for the fuse box and the radiator fans. It runs up through here. It goes down underneath the fans and all that kind of stuff. So I might just start with that. Just start getting some of this stuff in here, and we have to figure out where that engine harness section goes later. Definitely have a few questions about this whole thing. Like, I noticed on my ignition cylinder wiring, which is right here, they left this section, which is strange. So these are the GD connectors for the ignition cylinder, But this is like the light that lights up the key, and they left it with the legacy one. So they're both just a 2-wire connector, but yeah, I'm not sure why they left that. So I might have to cut this off and try to find a connector for that, so that the little ring around the key lights up. And also they zip tied this connector here, but there's nothing going to it, so I'm not sure why that's there. But the rest of this stuff, this is all like wipers, blinkers, all that kind of stuff for the legacy column, so that's all good. That's all there. It's just this one thing here I noticed is kind of strange. I noticed the shift lockout and immobilizer is all set up. There's a lot of this stuff. I'm not sure what all of this stuff is, but you know, we just take it one thing at a time, connect one thing at a time, just make sure all the grounds are connected. Like we have our test leads here, ECU wiring. This goes into the fuse panel, the bolt-in one. So all our relays for the fuel pump and stuff are over there. One thing that was also strange is they added this. So this is for the fuel pump controller ground wire. So I don't have the fuel pump controller. I wasn't planning on using it from the GD. So I'm not sure. Yeah, this looks like this is the fuel pump controller. So maybe I have to use it. I thought we had talked about it, but this is just going to be a ground here, and then this is a ground. I'll look up on their site to make sure I put this in the right spot, but this looks like it just goes right back into the fuel pump controller here. So that would be nice if it's, you know, a variable fuel pump. You know, when you're running a big pump, it's nice to have that. So yeah, lots of stuff. So I'll start trying to chip away at it. So starting with the fuse panel stuff, like I said. So this needs to run up through this hole here. So I'm just going to kind of feed all these wires through here down into the wheel well, and then we could feed them up through there. Okay, just ran this section through here. You see it goes up under here. Just had to get everything tucked through this hole here. I just started plugging in the fuse box. This is all the radiator stuff that goes underneath the core support down there. Headlights and all that stuff's on that. So I got to set up this whole fuse box section. This has like the washer sprayers right there, and figure out the mounts. Mount this guy back up. Everything just plug right back into it. Just taking it one step at a time. So I got the alternator stuff here. I got to figure out what this guy's for. I think this might be the corner light down there, or this front corner light. I'll figure that out. But for now, I just have it through here. So I got to find all the little bracketry and everything that mounts this up. Should all be in the back of the car somewhere, but it's one thing at a time. So I'm taking the big harness in here now. I'm trying to just kind of lay it over here. Hardest part is remembering where all this stuff goes. I'm pretty sure this one laid on top of the steering column up here, but I think it's just going to be some trial and error and seeing how things fit. This part's got to run down here. This part will stay out, I think. Yeah, so we got to just angle all this stuff down here. It's a little hard to do with one hand, so hold on a sec. Okay, so this is tucked down here now. Pretty sure this part was just up here because those bolts line up there. That's nice and safe. This part's gonna bolt up against the firewall back up there. But I gotta get the this grommet side here through the firewall. So this one's cut right here, so because they had to obviously modify the GD harness into this. So I'm not sure where I'm going to run this, but it might be long enough to just run it through that grommet there and over the back of the firewall. So once I get everything more situated, we'll figure that out. But this is where we're at for now. So we'll try to run this through there. Okay, so it's looking a lot better now. So I got this section just pushed through the firewall. I still have all this stuff that runs inside. Got to figure out where all that goes. This is the DCCD stuff. So this goes into the DCCD controller. But a lot of this is looking a lot better now. So may not seem like it, but it's sort of making sense. Also, I don't think I showed this. This is the STI ignition cylinder. I got some new safety screws because these are the break-off style. I was gonna chop this down, but more I'm looking at it, it seems to just fit. So I'm just gonna roll with it and not cut it off. Because this part right here, I was gonna chop down to make sure the lock actually engages, but it seems like it does. So I'm just gonna let it roll, and we'll see if it works. I can always just take this out later and chop it up if I need to. It's not too big of a deal, but it's just one little thing at a time. I just gotta pick a bundle of wires and start modifying it and figuring out where it can go. So okay, got this section bolted in. These harnesses right here actually bolt in right there, so slowly chipping away at it. I'm gonna start working on plugging these in now. Okay, a little bit more progress. So it's starting to make a little bit more sense now. So I got the fuse box right here. This is gonna bolt up on the firewall there. I need to get that in there, which some of these wires are running behind it, so I might need to unplug them again and redo it. But a lot of these, they can't go to the wrong plugs, so it's really just finding wherever it's supposed to go and checking each bundle and making sure you didn't forget to plug something in. So I just hooked up the ECU. I'm going to try to hook it up in this factory location up at the top there. I need to figure out where I can tuck up a bunch of this stuff, like my brake sensors and stuff, the clutch pedal sensor. All that needs to be connected. I need to figure out where this one is. I think this is for the window or the seatbelt motors. So it's looking a lot better over here. I think this is like the fuel pump controller here, and I ran the harness up on top of here. This actually bolts on. So we got the blower motor connected, all this stuff. There's still a few of these connectors, which I think, see, a lot of these are part of the dash harness itself. So a lot of these I'm not gonna be able to connect until the dash is actually in here, and we're starting to hook all that stuff up. So yeah, just going through one bundle at a time and just figuring out if I can hook everything up. Okay, a little bit more progress. So it's starting to make a little bit more sense now. So I got the fuse box right here. This is gonna bolt up on the firewall there. I need to get that in there, which some of these wires are running behind it, so I might need to unplug them again and redo it. But a lot of these, they can't go to the wrong plugs, so it's really just finding wherever it's supposed to go and checking each bundle and making sure you didn't forget to plug something in. So I just hooked up the ECU. I'm gonna try to hook it up in this factory location up at the top there. I need to figure out where I can tuck up a bunch of this stuff, like my brake sensors and stuff, the clutch pedal sensor. All that needs to be connected. I need to figure out where this one is. I think this is for the window or the seatbelt motors. So it's looking a lot better over here. I think this is like the fuel pump controller here, and I ran the harness up on top of here. This actually bolts on. So we got the blower motor connected, all this stuff. There's still a few of these connectors, which I think, see, a lot of these are part of the dash harness itself. So a lot of these I'm not gonna be able to connect until the dash is actually in here, and we're starting to hook all that stuff up. So yeah, just going through one bundle at a time and just figuring out if I can hook everything up. Okay, after looking over a few more things, I figured out I was doing it wrong. So I was running the engine harness through this side, which they gave me all that extra length. So it's actually, I'm kind of going by the GC8 instruction guide because it's pretty similar. So I actually ran it under here, so you can't even see, but this is the extra length of engine bay harness, and we're running it down through the wheel well down there. So this is it right here. So I just need to cut this grommet and meld it into that grommet there, but then it comes out right here like factory. So this one still comes out on this side because this is the other side of the engine harness, and this one's a little bit long, so I'll have to figure out how I can tuck this up, but it makes this grommet a lot more happy. So I started running this stuff over here, just kind of getting the layout of it. I also accidentally ran the radiator wiring up through here, and so that's why like this wouldn't fit, is because I had the radiator wiring wrong. So I pulled that back through. It comes out underneath here, goes along there, goes in there, and then the headlights come up this way through here, and this is where your ABS stuff used to be, but I'm getting rid of all that, so that's all there. It's looking pretty good. Looking a lot more like factory. So all this stuff will still come up here. Still has the front wheel drive fuse, which I think is pretty funny. And these are the engine harness grounds on both sides. I'm gonna have to figure out how I can attach this up here. I might flip this over, run this above, and keep this down here. I think that's how it was factory, so I just flip this around there. But one thing they did miss was they didn't swap the pigtail for my brake level sensor. So this is the legacy one, and they just didn't do that. So no big deal, it's just 2 wires, and it's just a resistance tester basically, so I don't think it even matters which wire goes to which. I just need to find a pigtail for the STI master cylinder there, and that'll all work. I need to clean up all my grounds, because I have like these ground wires and stuff. They used to go to the chassis here, but obviously I painted everything, so I gotta make sure these have good solid grounds and scratch the paint off. But I've just been working on inside here. So this is my heater box. I just replaced all the foam on here, so this has a nice good seal. And I worked on this one too. So this stuff is a little bit thicker, so I put this single-sided sticky foam on this side. It's a little tricky because it runs along the back here and all the way up, and it's going to be interesting getting this around the harness, but it's coming together. So now I'm going to try to slide this heater box in here. Get that off there. Put a little bit of grease on the heater core lines there, so I'll try to get them through those grommets. But this is definitely going to take some finagling, so hold on one sec. Alright, that was quite a process. I ended up having to take this guy back out because I don't remember how a lot of this stuff goes together. So, but yeah, we got this in without pinching any of the wiring. The heater cores, like the things through the grommets and the firewall, everything's happy. So yeah, that's a big step. There's nothing really behind here that I need to get to anymore. So I just feel a lot better having this in here with and I can actually move on and just figure out. I still got to figure out a lot of this kind of wiring and where all this stuff goes, if any of this stuff's used or what it all is supposed to go to. But a lot of it might just be a part of the dash, so I just have to go through one bundle at a time and just figure it all out. So I need to zip tie up this harness under here, make sure that's nice and safe. But yeah, the engine bay is looking a lot better. Wiring is getting really close. So that's going to do it for this episode, I think. Got a lot done. It was a big step getting all this wiring in here. So next time we still need to work on the front suspension, getting the steering rack set up and front brakes and brake lines. That stuff really needs to happen soon. And also the transmission's all cleaned up and ready to go in. I just need to actually physically get it in here, but it's so big and heavy, it's just it's going to be a big task. So, but yeah, that's going to do it. So thank you guys for watching, and give us a like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.